clear before shooting at her mother 3 times.
This 14-year-old with bushy bangs is a cold-blooded killer. She fatally shot her mother in the face and...
A daughter's love for her family is a bond we often take for granted, a foundation of trust and security. But what if that love turns into something far more sinister, something terrifying? What could possibly drive a 14-year-old girl, who seemed to have everything ahead of her, to commit the unthinkable? This is the haunting true crime story of Carly Gregg, a girl whose shocking actions shattered the illusion of safety within her own home. What led her down this dark path? What secrets was she hiding from her family and friends? Stay with us as we uncover the chilling events that left an entire community shaken and a family utterly destroyed. A chilling 911 call. In the peaceful town of Brandon, Mississippi, a quiet evening on March 19, 2024, took a terrifying turn. It was a day like any other for most, but for one family, it was the day their lives changed forever. At exactly 4:03 p.m., a 911 dispatcher answered a frantic call, one that would send chills down anyone's spine. The voice on the other end was panicked, trembling with fear and disbelief. "My daughter, she tried to shoot me." These were the words of Heath Smiley, calling from his home. His 14-year-old stepdaughter, Carly Gregg, had just committed the unthinkable. She had turned a gun on her own mother, Ashley Smiley, and attempted to kill him as well. The question that everyone in the community, the investigators, and even Carly's own family struggled to answer was, why? Why would a seemingly ordinary, loving girl, raised in what appeared to be a stable home, snap in such a violent, unimaginable way? The Smiley family, a picture-perfect life? To the outside world, the Smiley family had everything. They were the picture of suburban happiness, living a comfortable life in a well-kept neighborhood. Ashley Smiley, Carly's mother, was a dedicated high school algebra teacher. Her warmth, her passion for teaching, and her active involvement in community events made her beloved by students, colleagues, and neighbors alike. Carly, her daughter, was equally admired, a bright student, skipping a grade due to her academic excellence, and by all accounts, a well-behaved, intelligent young girl. Their home was filled with the trappings of a happy family. Vacations to Disney World, cozy nights watching movies, and afternoons spent playing with their 2 golden retrievers, Wyatt and Finn. Heath, Carly's stepfather, was a loving man who had formed a close bond with Carly since marrying Ashley. Together, they created what appeared to be an idyllic, loving household. But as is often the case, appearances can be deceiving. Behind the smiles and picture-perfect family photos, tensions were rising. A storm was brewing, and it was only a matter of time before everything fell apart. The troubled teen, unseen red flags. Carly Gregg was not your typical rebellious teenager. Until recently, she had been a model child, polite, intelligent, and ambitious. But beneath the surface, changes were happening that her parents didn't fully grasp. Her relationship with her mother had become strained, and the cause of that strain was something many parents would find relatable. Carly had been hiding a secret boyfriend. When Ashley found out, she was furious. Arguments ensued, and as a form of punishment, Ashley took away Carly's phone, hoping to instill discipline. But Carly had gone to greater lengths to hide her rebellious streak than her parents ever imagined. She had secretly obtained burner phones to continue communicating with her boyfriend, hidden her social media accounts, and begun smoking marijuana before school. To her parents, these acts seemed like typical teenage defiance, troubling, but not out of the ordinary. These behaviors were the signs of a much deeper, more dangerous spiral. Carly was battling emotional turmoil that her family didn't recognize until it was too late. Her hidden life, her secret habits, and her growing resentment were all building towards something far more dangerous than anyone could have predicted. The day of the crime, March 19, 2024. March 19th started like any other day for the Smiley family, but it would soon take a dark and tragic turn. After school that afternoon, Carly and her mother returned home. Tensions between them were already high. Earlier that day, Ashley had received reports that Carly might be using vape pens to smoke marijuana, and she was determined to confront her daughter about it. The atmosphere inside the house was thick with tension, and Ashley had no idea just how bad things were about to get. Surveillance footage from inside the home later revealed a chilling scene. Carly, walking toward her bedroom, was hiding something behind her back. At first glance, it seemed innocent enough. A typical teenage gesture, perhaps hiding something she wasn't supposed to have. But Carly wasn't hiding a vape pen. What she had concealed behind her back was something far more deadly, a loaded gun. Moments later, gunshots echoed through the house.
Clear before shooting at her mother 3 times.
Ashley Smiley, the devoted mother and beloved teacher, was shot multiple times by her own daughter. Carly, the girl she had raised and loved, had become her murderer. The aftermath, a sinister confession. After the brutal shooting, Carly's behavior became even more unsettling. She calmly removed the interior surveillance camera from its place and concealed it in the refrigerator. But the most disturbing part came when Carly texted a friend, asking them to come over and help her with an emergency. When her friend arrived, Carly showed no sign of remorse or panic. Instead, she led them to her mother's lifeless body, lying in the bedroom where the tragedy had unfolded. "Are you squeamish around dead bodies?" Carly asked her friend in a cold, emotionless tone. She then confessed to what she had done. "I put 3 bullets in my mom," she said, her voice chillingly calm. "And I have 3 more for my stepdad when he gets home." Her friend, horrified and unable to comprehend what was happening, stood frozen in shock. Carly's demeanor was devoid of any regret or fear. She had no remorse, only a calculated plan to continue her violence. The arrest, Carly's capture and charges. Heath Smiley came home later that day, unaware of the horrors that had unfolded. Carly was waiting for him, gun in hand. As soon as he walked through the door, she fired. By some miracle, Heath survived. The bullet only grazed his neck, giving him just enough time to escape and call 911. Deputies arrived at the scene quickly, but by then, Carly had fled. She jumped over the backyard fence and tried to run, but she didn't get far. Within minutes, the police found her hiding nearby, and she was taken into custody without a fight. Now, Carly Gregg, the 14-year-old girl who had once been seen as a loving daughter, faced the harsh reality of her actions. She was charged with murder, attempted murder, and tampering with evidence. Her bond was set at $1 million, and Carly pleaded not guilty to all charges, leaving the community in shock. The trial begins. The case against Carly. As Carly's trial began, the prosecution wasted no time laying out their case. They painted Carly as a deeply troubled teenager living a double life, hiding her dangerous behavior from her unsuspecting parents. Evidence mounted against her: burner phones, hidden social media accounts, and a growing list of rebellious activities, including smoking marijuana and lying to her family. But the most damning evidence was her actions on the day of the murder. She had methodically removed the surveillance camera and sent chilling text messages from her dead mother's phone, asking her stepfather when he would be home, all while Ashley's body lay in the next room. The prosecution argued that Carly's crime was not a moment of madness, but a premeditated act of violence. The defense: mental health or premeditation? The defense, however, offered a very different explanation for Carly's actions. Carly, they argued, was not a cold-blooded killer. She was a young girl battling a severe and undiagnosed mental illness. The defense presented evidence that Carly had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and had a history of hallucinations, eating disorders, and self-harm. Her mental health had deteriorated significantly in the weeks leading up to the shooting, exacerbated by recent changes in her medication. The defense claimed Carly was not in control of her actions, and that her mental illness impaired her ability to fully understand the consequences of what she had done. Testimonies: family, experts, and psychiatrists weigh in. As the trial unfolded, the testimonies became more emotional and heart-wrenching. Heath Smiley, Carly's stepfather and a survivor of the attack, took the stand. Despite being shot by Carly, Heath spoke not with anger, but with sorrow. He described Carly as a happy little girl who had suddenly turned into someone he barely recognized. He spoke of the horror and confusion of that day, saying it was like she had seen a demon. Psychiatrists on both sides offered conflicting views. Some believed that Carly's mental illness played a significant role in the crime, while others suggested that her behavior, especially her calmness after the killings, pointed to signs of psychopathy. The battle between mental health struggles and premeditation left the jury with a difficult decision to make. The verdict: a life behind bars. In the end, the jury had to make an agonizing decision. Was Carly Gregg a victim of her own mental health struggles, or was she a calculating killer who had planned this horrifying crime? After days of deliberation, the jury reached their verdict: guilty of first-degree murder, guilty of attempted murder, and guilty of tampering with evidence. Carly Gregg was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. She had rejected a plea deal that could have resulted in a lesser sentence, a decision she would come to regret for the rest of her life. For the Smiley family, the verdict brought a sense of closure, but it was a bittersweet victory. Ashley Smiley was gone, a mother and teacher whose life was tragically cut short by her own daughter. Keith Smiley had lost his wife and his stepdaughter in one devastating blow. A family was shattered, and a community was left grappling with the horrifying reality that sometimes, even the people we think we know best are hiding the darkest secrets.